Many know about slavery, but few discuss paper genocide. We did not all come from Africa, and most of us have Aboriginal roots that were stripped away due to reclassification and miseducation. As a native Black American and a member of the Muskogee Creek Nation, I understand the importance of tracing your lineage. If you want to learn how to trace your genealogy and apply for tribal citizenship, go to nativebblackancestry.com to schedule a consultation.
They don't want you to remember this. You not no slave, you indigenous. Fuck how they painted them Indians. You went to war with the French and the British, man. Quite frankly, you was kings, Merovingians. They took the women and men, made them prisoners, raised up the children to worship their images, set up a lab to the genes and they mixed them, and this shit get way deeper than your pigment.
All right, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Tonight we're setting the record straight about who we are, what we've endured, and why so many forces past and present have invested in keeping Native Black Americans from knowing our truth. For generations, our people have been reclassified on paper. We went from being recorded as Indian to being called colored, Negro, eventually Black, and that was no accident. It was a deliberate strategy, what many call paper genocide, meant to erase our heritage and cut us off from our land, our wealth, and our sovereignty. And now, in 2025, we're still under attack. Only now, it's not just the government or historians doing it, it's also Pan-Africanists and others who are determined to Africanize our identity. They tell us we're not indigenous, they say we're only African, and they try to debunk our claims with the same colonial talking points that were used to bury us in the first place. That's not unity. That's not liberation. That's another form of erasure. Tonight, we're going to walk through this step by step. I'm going to bring up a couple of co-hosts so that they can introduce themselves, and then we're going to jump into the Freedman's Bank. We're going to react to about an 8-minute video together and break down how that bank, something that was supposed to uplift our people, was actually used to steal our funds, block our inheritance, and rob Indigenous reclassified Black Americans of both wealth and land. After that, my co-hosts will each share some videos that they've sourced from social media, and then we'll get into the main topic. And this is where it gets real. We're going to be talking about the Pan-Africanists who are working overtime to pull us away from our American indigeneity. Some of them are here in the States. Others are across the water. Yes, we've got some Bush babies from abroad. Those pan-goofies out there in the UK trying to tell us who we are and who we're not. Imagine that, guys. People thousands of miles away are trying to define Native Black Americans. But we're not coming empty-handed. We've got footage from Chief Warhorse, a leader of the Choctaw Nation. That's spelled C-H-A-T-A, though it's been mispronounced as Choctaw. Chief Warhorse has been fighting for truth and recognition, and her voice cuts through the lies. We'll also be reacting to TikTok clips where folks push these false narratives, and we'll break down exactly why they don't hold up. So buckle in, guys. This is going to be about exposing fraud, reclaiming our history, and making sure that no matter what names they try to pin on us, we stand tall with what we've always known to be true. We are indigenous to this land. We are Native Black Americans. Now let's go ahead and introduce our first co-host. Coming from the back to the front is Miss Johnson, as I like to call her. How you doing, Miss Johnson?
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hi, Mike. Ready to go.
Nice. Now, I think your sister might be joining us a little bit later. She's probably got a little bit of tech issues, huh?
Yeah.
All right, for sure. Well, let's jump straight on into the content. We've got this video that I want to highlight about the Freedman's Bank. Let's see what our resident historian is talking about. Oh, wait, you know what? I think we've got Empress. Let me see. Someone just joined the studio. There we go. There's Empress. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Oh, you know how it is. Staying busy. Well, let's go ahead and jump into this. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Empress. This is going to be your guys' second time here joining me. For anybody that's new, we're actually working on launching a new network, the Native Black American Network. So eventually we're going to be moving these live streams from the Mike TV channel over to the new channel. So yeah, shout out to Empress and Miss Johnson for rocking out with your boy. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump straight into this first video. Without further ado, let's learn about the Freedman Bank.
The Freedman's Bank was a tool to confiscate the remaining wealth of Aboriginal Indians who were not part of the Native American reservation system. Let's look at how the Northern Unionist, evangelical, Protestant, abolitionist, capitalist banking clique performed this confiscation. First of all, let's make sure most people understand that the Aboriginal Indians were experts at farming and agriculture, especially in the Southeast. They'd been there for generations, thousands of years. And contrary to popular opinion, slaves were valued as assets. So therefore, they're often paid in cash. They're also allowed to sell plantation product for their own profit. And they even inherited parts of the plantations when masters died. So there's plenty of wealth accumulated over many generations. Okay, so here we are. It's 1865. They've decimated the South. There's a bunch of Union Army soldiers on all the plantations. They've created this Freedmen's Bureau that you see here. Okay, and look what this bureau, these agents are allowed to do. Okay, they're able to control access to food, education, legal aid. All right. The South was literally starving. They destroyed the plantations at the end of the war. Had to, be agreeable to these Union military officers as well as the agents of the new regime, the Freedmen's Bureau. The first way they funnel them into the Freedmen's Bank is they pretty much exclude them from the new national banking system that this abolitionist Congress created in 1864. And that national banking system actually had some deposit insurance plus serious oversight by the federal government through the United States Treasury. As a matter of fact, I've looked at the legislation. It actually had a very high capital reserve requirement of basically like 30%. They had to purchase treasury bonds for the United States Treasury, all right, and then keep 30% of those bonds.
So in layman terms, what he's saying is the Freedmen's Bank was set up to fail before it even began. And one of the telltale signs are the fact that any other bank in the U.S. has to meet a certain reserve requirement. They have to buy a certain amount of U.S. bonds because it's a secure long-term investment, whereas this bank didn't have any of those parameters in place. Furthermore, these recently emancipated people were basically segregated from the U.S. main banking system and forced into this Freedman Bank model. So they had really no option but to go for the ploy, right? But when we talk about the Freedman Bank and the lasting effects, I'm not sure if either of you guys have heard this statistic before, but I recently found out that the Freedman Bank scam was responsible for destroying $1 to $2 billion in generational wealth from those families who descend from emancipated people in the Southeast.
Wow, no, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah,
I never knew any of that.
Kind of expected.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't put it past them. It's like nothing surprised me with these people nowadays. Nothing surprises me at all. That's really drastic. And this is downright dirty and evil. Really. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
Well, I know that we said it at first when we couldn't hear, but it's the great setup. They basically wanted them to funnel their money through a bank that didn't have no protections.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And they stole from me. And the way how it's like, trust me, your money's going to be good. And then even the ones that didn't trust them, they forced them to.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the real kicker too. The real kicker is this is supposed to be the angelic union. This is supposed to be the angelic people from the North who freed all the slaves, right? Come on. The South, for better or for worse, the South had a system that was working. And those slaves in that system that were being treated harshly, that were being treated wrongly, they rebelled, and they had slave rebellions and Indian wars. And those slaves that were treated well, like extended family, and they had some kind of work agreement with the plantation owner, they saw the Union as enemies. When the Union came in town, they helped Massa hide the gold in the woods. I mean, if you actually read firsthand accounts of ex-plantation slaves, they did not look at the Union. Not all of them. It depends This is where slavery is nuanced. Some of them are like, yeah, the union's here. We're free. Let's go join the union. A lot of them were like, oh no, those union people are coming here to burn down the town and cause havoc, because at a certain point in time, there was a certain order. I forget which general, but he did just go through the South and just steal a bunch of stuff, burn a bunch of plantations, just destroy everything. That was a kind of scorched earth tactic that the Union employed at a certain point in time during the Civil War. So you got to realize slavery is much more nuanced than they'll ever teach us in school.
Yeah. There was a lot of slaves that had that mentality is we sick boss sick, we sick boss. So they still boss gold, they stealing massa gold, they stealing our gold.
Well, see, it's still more nuanced than that, though. You do have your like Samuel and Django types, right? And then you have those who are blood family members of the plantation owner. You have those that are treated just like modern employees. I mean, not every slave master was whooping and beating and lynching and all this stuff. If that was happening, then they would not have a productive workforce. Nobody would work under that system, right? You have to do something like Haiti, where you're just working them to death and constantly having to import slaves. But remember, North America received less than 4% of all of the slaves trafficked during the transatlantic slave trade.
Right.
States Treasury. Meanwhile, they create the Freedmen's Bank that has none of these protections, none of them. So the next thing is that the Freedmen banks are located in strategic places where the big plantations were and where there were clusters of these Aboriginal communities that had been, quote unquote, set free. Really what had happened is their land and their jobs have been destroyed.
And he's basically saying we're a descendant from reclassified Black Indians without saying it, right? He said these freedmen were really living in their indigenous ancestral homeland, and they were set free, and now they're forced into the Freedmen's Bank. Yeah. You just heard it from a resident white man. He said Black Indians, okay.
Banks, the Freedmen banks, are located in strategic places where the big plantations were and where there were clusters of these Aboriginal communities that had been, quote unquote, set free. Really what had happened is their land and their jobs have been destroyed by, the burning through of the South. So what kind of assets did these Aboriginal Indians possess? Well, they still actually had land, or they had worked land, and under their tribal systems or under the old Confederate state systems, they would have had titles and deeds. Here, your only option is to give us the titles to your land, and we'll put them in our safety deposit boxes, right? And we're going to use your land as collateral to make loans and investments. But of course, they weren't making loans and investments to the Southern freedmen, to this class of people that was depositing with them. They were taking this money, all right, and investing it in railroad stocks and steamboat shipping company stocks.
So they're basically gambling with these Black Indigenous folks' money. And as you can see from the words in the back, in many cases, bureau agent officials handling payrolls and titles directly transferred funds from freedmen's bank accounts without informed consent. I actually have a lot of genealogy clients where we find their ancestors with labor contracts negotiated through the Freedmen's Bureau, Freedmen's bank records. So a lot of our ancestors actually were victims of this Freedman scam. It then goes on to say that many Aboriginal descendant landowners placed their titles or savings into the bank under pressure from the Bureau or with encouragement from missionaries, teachers, or federal agents. That's how they get down, right? A tale as old as time.
Man, so they were really going around gaming our people. I mean, can you imagine someone walking up and saying, hey, that deed you got back there under your bed, or, in that hiding spot you got in that coffee can buried under that tree?
Yeah, it's not safe there. Nah.
It ain't safe.
It ain't safe. Put it in our bank that we're about to bankrupt and burn down in a few years.
Then you don't have no proof of your property. Then they could come and strip you of your land.
Mm-hmm. So clearly the distrust that our community innately has for the government has, long-standing roots, doesn't it? I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, they have proven that they can't be trusted time and time again. treaties have been broken, promises have been broken, and they're still, not standing by their word, and or to standing by their word to uplift our people, and do what they said they were going to do, the promises they made. So I feel like it's just ongoing. How can you trust someone that continuously, makes it a bad look?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have a word. They don't have a word. I mean, you can't trust any of that. I mean, if we keep looking at everything we have been through and what our ancestors was going through, why would we trust anything that any of them say or that they do? If they make it so hard to, because they have such a terrible track record. It's like you let a snake bite you once, so you're going to stick your hand out and let that snake bite you again. And every time we look back through history, they have did everything they could to keep the Native Black Americans down, regardless if it's stealing land, burning down towns, stealing money, taking everything you have out the bank and not replace it. They do not care. And I just, you know what? It's no way to repay it. It's just the more and more I learn, the more I figure out and put two together and set this up. Like, wait, first they did this, then they did this. It was like they not letting up. They keeping their foot on our backs all the way right now to today. Their foot is on our necks with all this different kind of stuff. And the way I look at it, the Union and Confederacy, they know different from the Democrats and the Republicans. We can't win with neither one. Neither one of them is doing anything for us right now to this day.
Absolutely. Two wings, same bird, if you ask me.
There you go, right
Let's
there.
talk about it.
That whole
Let's
part.
talk about it. Now, when I start playing this video, if y'all can't hear it, let me know.
Right away.
New electric stocks, all this stuff is being done by the shareholders.
Are you guys able to hear it?
Yes, we're good.
All right, good.
Trustees of the Freedmen's Bank. There was no oversight by Congress. There was no oversight by the Treasury. There was no insurance. Okay, then they, after 5 years, actually changed their own corporate charter to allow them to invest in anything. So it goes on and on what they were doing here. So how would these Union Army officers and these Freedmen's Bureau agents, sell this to them? They would tell the Indians that this was created specifically for this. This was an Indian-friendly bank, right? Okay, and besides the Bureau and besides the military, you also have this new group of like evangelical Protestant groups coming down, in particular the Methodists, the Baptists, and the Presbyterians. And they're like,
the Methodists. That's where we get our AME church from. That's where we get our African Methodist Episcopal Church. Come on, let's talk about it. That church that most of us have ancestors who were a part of. Some of us have ancestors who are pastors and leaders in that church. Some of our leaders, like Martin Luther King Jr., came through that organization. I mean, come on. The more you know.
It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep. It sounds like you have something you want to say.
Well, is this real? Is this real?
Oh yeah, it's real.
It's real.
And it's gonna get worse. It ain't gonna get better.
Social and cultural arm of the Union. Okay, they're coming down there. They're taking over old Indian infrastructure, their schools. They're taking over their mills. They're taking over their farms. Okay, the schools they were turning into schools to train the new white European people in the system as well, because they were actually being.
Remember when Martin said that at the same time that they weren't giving us nothing, they were giving European pilgrims subsidies, giving them land to farm, teaching them how to mechanize the farm, giving them farming colleges and schools. This is exactly what he's discussing right now.
Okay, they're coming down there. They're taking over old Indian infrastructure, their schools. They're taking over their mills. They're taking over their farms. Okay, the schools they were turning into schools to train the new white European people in the system as well, because they were actually being imported from all over Eastern Europe for the most part in the Caucasus regions. So they actually had to be trained in this new system of land ownership and surveyed land. And
Did you guys know that 90% of white Americans descend from European migrants that migrated here after the Civil War, 1865?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all came over way later.
Most of them that came over before them were banished by their own country. Like they were kicked out.
Yeah, no, most of the British colonies kind of started off just like Australia as a prison colony. Yeah. Except it wasn't necessarily just prisoners. It was like debt slaves too. So a lot of Europeans who owed debt back in Europe, they can come over here, be indentured, work it off in a few years, et cetera, et cetera. Right.
They had a farm.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they had other schools turned into re-education and indoctrination schools for the Indians. That's what was going on. And these are the three religious organizations that were deeply on the record tied to it. So once they've accumulated and attracted all these land titles, these deeds, okay, therefore, when the bank collapses due to investing in initial public offerings and crazy stock market things, they're able to just turn around and go, oh, sorry, your deposits are gone. Now, the next question might be, well, okay, that stinks that I lost my dollars, but, you know, I had a title in there to my 200 acres of land in this part of Georgia. What happened to that title? Oh, funny thing happened after the bank went bankrupt. These records got destroyed. This is literally what they did. This is on the record. This is how the rulers of the United States that won the Civil War, these wonderful abolitionists, these moral Puritans, these Methodists, Baptists, and Presbyterians, this is what they did. There's nobody else in charge. But
come on, so were they benevolent figures that came down and freed slaves, or did they only free slaves because it was a last-ditch effort to win the war, and they needed those slaves to win the wars for them because they were good warriors? And then right afterwards, they do this Reconstruction thing and force us into an even worse type of slavery, a wage type slavery, where now we're sharecroppers. And again, I've read the firsthand ex-slave interviews, and they say that they preferred slavery. They said life was much better when they were enslaved versus when they were free sharecroppers. Because now you're working the same land for the same master, but now you got to pay for that food you're getting, and you got to pay for those those tools you're using, and you got to pay rent on that shack you're living in now that you used to stay in for free. That right? So yeah, look into it, y'all. Look into it.
Yeah, it was coming from all sides at that point. It's like
it's like you can't win for losing.
That part right there, sis. There was no winning in that game. And they always set the game up like that. The game is always set up for them to win and everyone else to lose.
Absolutely. And before we continue with the video, let's cut to a quick commercial break.
My name is Frances Tuck, and I contacted Mike from Mike TV on YouTube because I wanted to find out about my family's Native American history that I believed existed. Through the research that I was able to do through Mike TV, I was able to find out that our name is indeed on the registry. I had a consultation with Mike today, and because of his advice and the research that he has done, I am now confident that I'm able to find my family's roots in the Native American History database. Thank you, Mike.
He's knowledgeable about his information, about the American Indians, and how we change our classification over time and the different types of mounds and different rules from the French, from the British. If you want viable information, you want to really find out who in your lineage and who are the people you come from, I suggest going with Mike TV. His prices are affordable. He's not like some of these other people out here. I urge, go with Mike TV.
Oh, yeah. Real people, real results. Let's talk about it, y'all. Make sure to check out nativeblackancestry.com if you need personalized guidance with genealogy research. Let's get back to the video.
Just read this one. It speaks for itself.
Hold on, I'm gonna read it for you guys. It says the destruction of the Freedmen's bank records was both deliberate and systematic, and it played a major role in severing financial, land, and legal ties for hundreds of thousands of Black and Aboriginal descendant people. Here's a breakdown of how and why the records were destroyed.
Here's a specific example of the 1874 DC branch fire. Of course, that was the largest of all the institutions in the Freedmen's banking system. This shows what happened in the southern branch. They literally closed their doors overnight and immediately began burning the records. I mean, they have these accounts in the newspapers of union officers and contractors clearing out the offices, destroying files, and boarding up buildings. Then even the National Archive, whoops, we lost them. So what can you say? There's nothing good to say about this. Here's another slick way. In 1870, they altered their charter so that the banks, the individual bank branches, no longer need to hold original deposit certificates or land title receipts. So you're native, or you're an Aboriginal Indian. You own a couple hundred acres. You brought to them the paperwork, which would be a title, a land title receipt, and that's the only one you have. We don't have copy machines back then. You have to understand what banks meant. And historically, way before the United States of America, that's why banks in ancient times were actually subsumed under temples. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Temples and churches were stores of wealth. So now that all the records about...
Well, let's take it a step further. Most people don't know that temples and churches weren't just a store of wealth, but churches were literally the first banking institutions. Before the modern financial markets, before the modern advent of banking, churches were the original banks. Think about it. They're literally siphoning wealth from the community. You're paying your tithes, right?
Faithfully.
And the church is storing that in the vault. They've got a church vault, and they're using the funds to do things like hire conquistadors to go colonize and destroy savage communities, right? So, the churches and the financial institutions, you have to understand the point of intersection there.
The property tiles are destroyed. They now have an excuse to resurvey the land. The county government takes control of it, and then they conduct property sales to two types of people: very wealthy northern banks who are buying up large tracts. Example of Sanford, Florida, a unionist general, rich guy named Sanford buys 12,000 acres and starts to colonize it with poor people from Sweden to start a celery farm. Yes, that is true. No, it did not succeed. Okay, so now you see the setup, right? They've confiscated their money wealth through the bankruptcy. But the way to confiscate the land wealth is they have to lose the titles, right? So then they burn all the information after the bankruptcy. Now you have the excuse to resurvey, reorganize the land into parcels, smaller parcels, and now start to sell it off. Selling it off to the big banks to start new plantations and colonies, and selling it off to this new group of imported, pauperish, Caucasian, Eastern European, white people that they're flooding the country with at the tune of about 500,000 people a year from 1880 to 1920. Thank you for listening. I hope you found this enjoyable.
So what do you guys think about that?
He in trouble, first of all. I know they don't like him. I know they don't like him at all. But like I said, the more and more I learn, the more and more I get disgusted with everything. This is sad. How much would all that money and stuff be worth right now today, Mike? Just give me a rough estimate.
Oh, I said earlier, $1 to $2 billion, $1 to $2 billion in generational wealth was lost. And that's with today's currency conversion. And these people, their descendants go on to get terrorized by these new European migrants. They formed the KKK in 1865, right? They then swindle them out of their land. They then go on these great migrations to the north, Chicago, New York, to the West Coast. A lot of them end up going to the city, getting forced into ghettos, housing projects. and then their descendants are in the projects living the way they're living today. And they are oftentimes totally unaware of the fact that they're a direct lineal descendant of people like this who've been disenfranchised and had their family inheritance stolen.
Yeah, they have no idea. Like a lot of us, that's a huge percentage of us that have no idea who we truly are, where we came from, and what was really lost and stolen. Not even lost. What was really stolen and taken. And there was nothing that, the ancestors could really do about it. Nothing at all. They were chased off their land. They were lynched. They were hung. And then they were getting attacked up from all fronts.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Because even when they migrated to the north, there were massacres in the north. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when they moved out here and stayed in neighborhoods out here, it still was, they were met with racism.
Segregation, redlining, Jim Crow.
Yeah.
Yep, same thing.
It's
But
terrible.
I know that you guys had some videos that you wanted to share with everybody. So let's go ahead and
Oh,
start
yeah.
pulling them up. Let's take a look at this first one. Why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of context on what this video is and why you thought you should share it with us here today.
Well, I was inspired because I came across this video on TikTok, and this woman speaks very confidently about who she is, and she knows who she is, and she does it in such an articulate way that it's not confrontational. She doesn't get hostile with it. So I'm really digging this lady right here.
All right, well, let's take a look.
Why are you not African? You're just only American?
Yeah, I'm American.
Okay, explain.
So my most recent descendants are literally from Central America and North America, Indigenous Black Americans. They have the same color, the same melanin content, but they are not from Africa. I can't name any country in Africa. What I'm saying is that if I take a test right now, I could say some Italian, some German, some Australian up in there, 13% Ghanaian, 19% Nigerian, like who knows and who cares? But what I'm saying is that my immediate ancestors are American. Oh, yeah. Mine.
Are they Black?
Well, you know what? She's making a very good point. Again, I don't really believe that DNA testing can tell you your tribe or your ethnicity accurately. I mean, it's good for telling you who your daddy is if you're adopted or something, or who your cousins are. But theoretically, if we're going to put on our tinfoil hats and say DNA testing can tell you your ethnicity, when it says that we're these 10% Ghanaian, 10% Nigerian, we know for a fact a lot of us more readily have European ancestry, and that European ancestry could have African DNA as well. I mean, North African Moors conquered the Iberian Peninsula for like 700 or 800 years, and Europe is not far from Africa at all. There's been a lot of, cross pollution, if you will. But let's see what else she has for us.
They're Black, but they're not African. It's a difference. The whole thing about African booty scratchers, and even why Black Americans have been called African booty scratchers, is because the white people have classified us all as coming from Africa because we're all Black. And that's where the whole falsified information has come, where we all come from the Atlantic slave trade and all the Black people were just shipped here to this country and all over. That's not true. We were already here. We were already here lining up every part of the world.
But if what you're saying is true, then you are more Hispanic or Asian than you are Black, because
that makes absolutely no sense. What kind of weird these Pangu? Oh man, I can tell he's a foreigner. I can tell. Wait, so if what you're saying is true, that you descend from Indigenous Black Americans, really you're Asian or Hispanic? Gotcha. Bro,
right?
Try again.
He's the main one that I'm like, he's serious.
Yeah, try again, little buddy. Try again.
Before the transatlantic slave trade, there was what they call Paleo Indian,
and Paleo Indians weren't Hispanic.
Those individuals.
No, and once again, you're misinformed, and that's nice.
I'm not saying that's the only people that were here, but they have Paleo Indians.
If you're not saying that's the only people, then what are you saying? If she's saying she descends from Black Indigenous people, and you're saying there were also Paleo, you literally just said that she's claiming she's Indian or Hispanic and Asian. So, bro, What are you talking about?
Which the
Right.
Aztec came from, which the
Right.
what is it, Aztec, the Inca, those tribes came from what is called Asia to some extent.
What I'm
No. That is a theory that some communities, more specifically the
what is he
Southwestern
talking about?
Plains Indians, the Southwestern Plains Indians migrated from Asia, but not the Inca, not the Aztec. Maybe it's a little questionable. The Aztec, even in their own ancient oral tradition, have stories of migrating from other places, but the Inca, no. The Maya, no. The Olmec, no.
saying is that with the transatlantic slave, like Atlantic slave trade, like you've been like misinformed to think that there were only, what do you say, paleo, like white colored Indians essentially that were here. That's not true. There were Black people here, or as people say, the Moors, or whatever you want to call it. There were Black people here indigenously, like they were across the whole.
And see, and this is why I really have such disdain for the American Moorish community, if you will, because they really muddied the water so much. The only reason why she mentioned the Moors is because oftentimes, like the Moorish Science Temple and these fools will kind of try to insert themselves into the indigenous stuff, and they'll even sell these status correction packages to identify as a Native American, pay us $800 and stuff. Like, no, the Moors were Spanish conquistadors. They were African colonizers working on behalf of Europeans. Let's talk about it. But this was an excellent video. Yeah, I wouldn't even be in the same room with all them Africans. I mean, it's probably a bit musty in there. I'm just gonna say, probably a little bit musty.
Did you see how loud in Rome?
Yeah, it was her against everybody though. Like it really was. Like, even though she's misinformed on some things, also, I feel like she stood her ground.
Hey, and this is how I know it must have been musty. I seen this video the other day. It's a flight from Nigeria. This is a flight from Nigeria, and this is how the airline staff is doing them Africans on a flight from Nigeria.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday.
That's Air France.
Now, you can save £50 per person.
Them French people ain't playing.
For a family of 4.
Do you see what they got in their hands?
We've got millions of free.
Because they don't do the deodorant. Why?
Come on. I ain't never been on a flight where the stewardess had to walk away. Double. They got double cans in both hands. Everybody got double cans walking down the 2, 4, 6, 8 cans for the flight. That's how stinky it was.
Oh my God.
That's how stinky it was.
Though.
And the French are kind of stinky people. They don't use deodorant and shit neither. So if a French person think you stink, you really stink. You
it's
really,
bad.
really
It's
stink.
really bad.
Yeah. But let's check out this next video. What's this next video that you want to present?
Sis, you want to take this one? This is the one about the 5,000 year old DNA melanated found, I think.
So this is a mummy with the afro intact.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Do you see the man in the picture above me here? And before you go and say, oh no, he's African, let me tell you, he's not. This mummy is over 5,000 years old, and he's actually indigenous to the Americas. But we're going to take a closer look at him. So as you can see, he is highly melanated, which probably helped keep him well preserved, and his hair is coarse or coily, like some people like to say. And again, he is over 5,000 years old, and he was found recently right here in the Americas. This guy actually proves that we were here before slavery ever began.
So for all you pan goofies that say, where's the archaeological evidence? There's a 5,000-year-old black mummy with an afro. All right.
They only brought 82 Africans to the U.S. So we were definitely here before the 1700s when they brought the first African.
Hey, nice. That one was solid right there. I didn't even know about the mummy. How recent was this discovery?
Yeah. This was 2 months ago, if I'm not mistaken.
2 months? Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. And then how about this next video? What's up with this video that you want to present? It looks like we have an elder here.
Yes. Okay. So
yes.
this one here, it's an elder's testimony. Basically, her grandchild is questioning her about their lineage and their genealogy, and she goes in deep about where they came from, who they are, and it's just how it explains and it shows how our oral and verbal history is handed down to us. And a lot of us don't believe it. But fortunately, this young lady, she believes her Mima, her grandma, and she's passing this information on to her other family members and everyone else too.
Nice. Well, let's get into it.
Our people weren't from no Africa. They didn't tell that damn lie. Nowhere else.
She said, our people ain't from no Africa. They told us a damn lie. Okay. We starting out strong, aren't we?
Our people weren't from no Africa. They didn't tell that damn lie. Nowhere else.
And my dear, okay then, so we wasn't in slavery like they were saying, was we?
No.
Because Grandma N was in the 1800s, so we can go almost 4 or 5 generations back. So Grandma N was from our land is our land, 900 acres of land, right?
Because Blue Family Road, they done took his son down now.
But it's exactly. And our grandma Hester and our grandpa Al was Albert, Grandpa Albert. And our names is our name. We didn't get no name from no white people, did we?
That's what I was telling you guys. I've been saying that for a while. That's why on my website, nativeblack.ancestry.com, I built out this tribal surname tab, because it's a grand misconception that we get all of our surnames from slave masters when a lot of us descend from folks who were never enslaved. So, you can definitely cross-reference your family last names and see if you have any that align with the 5 civilized tribes. But yeah, it's great what the elder's saying.
My dear, they teaching that stuff in the history book, talking about we was slavery.
We wasn't no slavery. Our people weren't foreparents, was not no slavery. They tell them bare-faced lie.
Y'all hear that, don't y'all? Y'all hear that? And we Choctaw, right? That's right. We Choctaw. Y'all see a Choctaw, y'all. That's who we are. And our people were already here. And all of these history books have been lying. We just did the math. So I can go back before they said slavery was freed in Texas. When I did the math, it didn't add up. So I asked my grandmother, and my grandmother said, I said, my dear, so you mean, so were we slaves? Were we in the plantation?
No. We don't know about no plantation. I wasn't even born when all that mess was going on. But my foreparents know better. They weren't from no plantation.
You see that, y'all? So dirty is right there. My dear just confirmed it. 94 years young. We were not from no darn slavery like they're saying. And we want people to stop saying them lies. And she said that granddaddy had their own land, and we didn't have to work like that. We didn't have to work ourselves to death from sun up to sundown. They lying.
Come on, y'all. Come on. Just like we watched that Freedman video, and it was talking about how they were working for wages and getting land and getting tricked out of deeds, right?
Mm-hmm. It's so, like I said, the verbal history, oral history is so important for us to sit down, have those conversations with our elders, our great aunts, our aunties, our uncles. It had the knowledge is passed down verbally. Unfortunately, not a lot of history was written down for our people, but it's there. Our history is there. It's just oral and verbally. Listen to your ancestors, listen to your great grandparents, your parents, and trace your genealogy. We are all not from Africa. And I can't stress that enough. We have not found not one African in our lineage yet. And we're back to the early 1800s. So just give it a shot. Book with Mike if you need help. But do not believe in everything that they teach you in school.
Oh yeah, let's
Right.
get
You heard
into
what
it.
Medea said.
Sis.
I don't know if
I
he's
said you
saying.
heard what
I
Medea
don't know if she's saying my dear or my dear or
You have
Medea. I
anything
don't
to
know,
add to
but
that?
go ahead.
No, sis, you hit it all right on the nose. You got it right. You gotta, listen to your grandma, your great grandpa, your great uncles, any kind of your greats, your elders. That's what it is. Listen to your elders. And if you got to take notes, record. I mean, the generations now, they have it better than we do. They can record like this, they elders speaking. And as we was watching the video, I was sucking in what she was saying, the information. But at the same time in my head, I was like, oh, if I had a camera back then for my grandma and them, oh, it would have been on, because it was so much knowledge they was spitting and throwing out, about things back then in the day. But yeah, you got to listen to your elders, pay attention to them, jot it down, write it down, record, because your grandma, your grandpa, they not lying to y'all. Pay
They had no
attention.
reason to.
Yep, they was too old to lie or
Right, lie for
exaggerate.
what?
And then we have all our fruit trees and stuff, my dear.
Right, we have peach trees, apple trees, plum trees, grapevine, muscadine vine, scuffing vine, all of that.
Y'all hear that, don't you?
Then in the country.
You hear that, don't you?
Grandpa gave grandma her land, and they built houses on it. Grandpa took over and kept the taxes paid on it.
So they had taxes way back in 1800s. So we know now that the white man invaded.
Okay. And what's this last one right here? Oh, you know what? You're on mute. Hold on a second. There you go.
So this is something that I just came across, and they were showing us some recent pictures of some Black natives. So I thought we just, go ahead and take a look and see how we looking today.
Okay, let's get into it.
Blackfoot and Cherokee. My mom's people, matriarch part side of the family, is from Brownsville, Tennessee, and they were the Cherokee descent, Cherokee and Blackfoot.
Ashe.
Thank you.
And what's your name, your native name?
Oh, my native name is Marnita Pretty Wolf on Facebook. But my Cherokee name is Red Bobcat. So and that's my Cherokee name. Pretty Wolf is my Sioux name. I was married to a full Sioux.
And what was your relationship to the Choctaw from the Natchez Trace in the Mississippi area? Do you
now the Choctaw people? Now a lot of them are from like Alabama, around in that area. Now we're cousins. Yeah, I just say that we're cousins.
Yes. And are you happy that so many people are remembering that they are the native here?
Yes.
We're remembering, and I'm so.
Oh yeah, that's right, y'all. The Great Awakening is upon us, and everybody watching is a part of it. That's right. Let's get into it.
Beautiful to see you, sister.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Now, $400,000, you can figure it up, but $400,000 in 1825 was quite a lot of money. All right, you can clear the arena.
Nice. And you wouldn't happen to know what part of the country this is in, would you?
No, I didn't have time to do that research.
All right. Yeah, I might have to look into it.
Yeah.
Keeping them on beat.
For real. Always got to have a brother on the drums.
Yeah.
Calm down, Tommy. This is how you catch the rhythm.
She's 82. My aunt right here, she's 82 years old. She's been coming here. How long you been coming lately? How long you
And I see we got some snow bunnies a part of the tribe as always. You know, it is what it is, what it's going to be. But hey, they got the complexion for protection, right? Because when they get online, ain't nobody calling them a pretendian.
Correct.
Let's talk
Right.
about it. Let's
At
talk
all.
about it. But you know what? Let's go into another quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to react to our main event tonight, which is these Pan Goofies. These Pan Goofies near and far.
For anybody who is on the fence about having Mike help you or walk you through or educating you about genealogy and the genocide that has happened with the paper trail, I implore you to reach out, allow him to educate you and assist you in this process. I have learned so much in this consultation. I feel educated, empowered, and excited for learning about my history and looking forward to the future. So if you're on the fence, please go ahead, hit up Mike. I promise you will not be disappointed.
How you doing? My name's Major Wright. I just got done with my consultation with Mike. If you trying to trace your ancestry, Mike is a good first step to go through. He's going to break it down to you, all 3 steps to get you what you need. And if you want somebody to maybe do the research for you, you know, you pay that price and Mike can help you too. But yes, he will fill you up with knowledge that you never knew and give you all the things like those unanswered questions in your head throughout time. Talk to Mike, man. He's a great dude. I believe in Mike.
Black people in America were taken like, think of it like Frankenstein. You know, like Frankenstein would take the arm from this place and the leg from this place and the head from this place. And they were created into what they are.
What's the form of eugenics, Kobe?
They're severed from what they were. You see, the black people on the continent of Africa, they still have, even though they were colonized and you know, enslaved on their continent, they still, because they were in their continent, they got to hold on to some remnants of their culture, their language, their foods, stuff like that, right? So they, even though they were colonized.
So basically, he's trying to say Africans are better than us, right?
Yeah, that's basically what he's saying. And what he mean, we were breeded into something else.
He literally said like Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's weird. And you see, and then they wonder why we be coming for their heads and why we look at them crazy. What kind of ish is that to say about somebody?
He said we are Frankenstein's monster, and Africans are better than us because even though they got colonized too, they didn't get severed from the land. Like, what kind of weird talking? Check this out. Check this out. If you're better than us because we got severed from the land and you didn't, then why are we globally successful and you're not? Shouldn't you have a competitive advantage over us? There's billions of you guys on your ancestral homeland, and you still can't get shit popping.
With all those resources you have on your continent, you cannot come together as a people and do anything. We surpass you guys in every aspect of that. When we stand together, we're heard. And we know how to stand together and move as one. They have never done that.
And they don't have an African Dubai, let alone an African Wakanda. Wakanda had to be built in the United States through CGI and Hollywood. That's the only way they got a Wakanda, okay?
They weren't totally severed from who they were. The Black American is severed from who they were and then cultivated and created into this being. So they don't have a natural language. Their language is the language of the person that created them.
Meanwhile, Africans are speaking French, Dutch,
Portuguese,
Spanish. Yeah. You have entire countries in Africa that speak French.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on the severed part. We wasn't never severed from no Africa. That's not our homeland. Our homeland is right here, and we doing fine. We're doing a lot better than what they doing up over there. I think that their great hope is Ibrahim Toure up over there, for what I've been seeing on the
Ibrahim
news.
Traore or whatever his name is. Yeah.
He the only thing they got going for them right now, and they all can't even rally behind them. They all so corrupt and they
Time out. Here's the kicker. You do know how Ibrahim came into power, right?
It was a whole coup.
A coup, yeah.
So it's like their best, most recent revolutionary came to power doing a coup. Like how ass backwards is that?
I can't get it. Here goes another Pan Goofy worried about the wrong thing. He
all
need
the
to
way
be
in the
focused
UK.
over there.
Yeah, he all the way in the UK.
We are studying.
Worry. And he's loud and wrong, just like the other one was loud and wrong. He loud and wrong too.
Well, let's hear what the Africans in the UK have to say about us. We would never spend our time doing a broadcast or a video just discussing Africans in the UK. Like, we don't care about you, but we are clearly on their mind.
Do you get what I'm saying? They don't have a natural religion. Their religion is the religion of the person that created them. They don't have.
Meanwhile, you guys are all Catholics and Christians in Africa. Oh, okay, I'm done.
Everything that they have has been cultivated by the people that created them.
No, we created everything we have. We created hip hop. The Europeans didn't cultivate hip hop. We created inventions. Okay, the gas mask, the street light, the cassette toilet. I mean, what are you talking about?
Black people don't like each other.
That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Why don't we like each other, bro?
Black people don't like each other, and it's shown.
Just so disgusting. Do you see how early on they're trying to say black people don't like each other, and then the other one says, why don't we like each other? They're trying to grift into this black identity we made so popular.
Yeah, but why are they talking about black?
Exactly. They've never called themselves black. They're Africans. They got their tribes. They claim that they're not severed and we're severed, but now they want to be black because we've made it fashionable.
Yeah. They're no different from, like I said before, they're no different from the YT man, always trying to take and make it their own. From who? From us. Take it, study it, and try to make it their own.
They're literally trying to take our culture while telling us we don't have a culture and we're a Frankenstein monster created by Europeans. Okay.
It's shown within the attitudes and the behaviors that we act out towards each other. Generally, I would say in the West.
So honest, man. I love that about you.
Man speaking English with a British accent telling us we ain't got no culture.
Listen, black people don't like each other, right? Black people generally don't like each other. I said some of the worst, let's say some of the worst people that have looked at me on the street have been from black people. And I'm like, I don't even know you.
You mean from African people? From your fellow Africans in the UK? Because you're in the United Kingdom. We're not looking at you crazy in the street. Your fellow African migrants are. But see how he's not going to say the craziest looks I get are from my fellow African migrants. No, that's too specific. He has said black people, right? Black people. So y'all think it might be us. It might be who? I mean, who? Black people.
they use that word black to try to group us all together, and we're a people of our own. It is like you said, we made the word fashionable, that we made the word likable, we made the word appealing to some people. We're mimicked all across the world as Black Americans. So they will do anything. At first, it was doing anything to separate themselves from being Black. Now they're doing anything to coexist and steal from our culture and claim it for their own.
Their parents told them to
They want
stay
the
away
right
from
way.
the Akatas. Their parents said, stay away from the Akatas, stay away from Black people. But now it's in reverse, and they've grown up to want to grift into our culture, grift into what we've created. And it's just so disgusting.
What is this disdain that you got in your heart for me? And so when you look at, you know, some of the crime and stuff and what happens with the crime, you say to yourself,
interracial, nearly 90%,
intraracial.
Yeah, nearly 90%
of crime is intraracial, meaning that it's white on white, Chinese on Chinese, Black on Black.
The highest number in the Black community.
Yeah, because Black people don't like it, but Black people have been taught to hate each other. They've been taught to.
So you don't think we can end that conditioning? Because look, brother, I can show you something right now, whereas I kind of say Black people, the nature of Black people. I'm going to read something out very quickly. This is from Up From Slavery, because I find it really important to understand. This is kind of I kind of read, and you know, so what people talk about slavery, there are very different stories of slavery and ideas around slavery. Booker T. Washington is saying they were anxious. I'll give you a bit of a scenario. This is when
Africans in the UK are reading and quoting Booker T. Washington. Wow. You don't say.
Because they don't have nothing else to hold on to. What Black person over there in the UK? I didn't mean Black.
No. What African? What African migrant revolutionary in the UK can you name? None.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. They ain't got nobody to turn to but us. But it's awfully funny how it is two Africans sitting here. It looked like a mixed African. Yeah. And another African sitting here still talking about us way across the water, worried about what's going up over here, and finna pull up a book by Booker T. Washington. Where they do that at? What's wrong with these people? What is wrong with
this?
This
is so weird. It's just it's giving
care.
Obsessed. It's definitely giving obsessed. Yeah,
very obsessed.
You know, the war,
and we don't care, Mike. Like you said,
the war to free the slaves, like the war of the South.
Yeah, yes. Do you mean the civil?
Yeah, civil war.
Okay.
They were just as they talked about.
He didn't even know the name of the war to free the slaves. He didn't even know it was called the Civil War. Oh Lord!
They were just as anxious to assist in the nursing of the family relatives of the wounded. So Black slaves were just as anxious to assist in the nursing of the soldiers who were literally fighting to keep them in slavery, right?
Right.
But they basically, anyway, it's the nature of them.
White soldiers.
Yes, white soldiers.
Right. Okay.
So some of the slaves would even beg for the privilege of sitting up at night to nurse their wounded masters. This tenderness and sympathy on the part of those held in bondage was a result of their kindly and generous nature. In order to defend and protect the women and children who were left on the plantations when the white males went to war, the slaves would have laid down their lives. So the slaves would lay down their lives.
Oh my gosh. So this is why it's crazy that we got foreigners trying to insert themselves into Civil War history. They're literally cherry picking a passage from this book, trying to make it seem like Confederate slaves were in love with their masters and were nursing their wounds and looking after them instead of fighting for their freedom. Guess what, you imbecile? The enslaved care was not voluntary. They were enslaved. Guess what? Some plantation owners, when they got called to go fight in the war, or their sons got called by the Confederate Army to fight, they would send their slaves with them to look after them, nurse his wounds, give him water, because he's a slave. He has to do what he says. But these bush babies are really going to make it seem like these slaves had like some Stockholm syndrome and just loved massa on some Stephen from the Django type shit. Like, bro.
Conditioning. So I mentioned because I want to talk about conditioning. It's about being taught to think a certain way. So now,
there's a book called The Miseducation of the Negro.
Oh yeah, I read that.
The Miseducation of the Negro, and
they reading all our books, huh?
in it, he says that because of the conditioning of the quote unquote Negro, right? Negroes were used to going into the big house via the back door. They weren't allowed to go in via the front door, right? And
I would love to hear what you guys went through in Europe. I would love to hear you kick game on history about your people. I mean, it's so crazy that they're so obsessed with us. Damn.
he's actually said something that was quite funny.
Yep.
They don't even have a dog in this fight. Why is this even a topic for them to discuss? They're
Did you
not
know? Did you know in the big house they had to go through in the back door? Like,
yeah. What's your purpose? What's your angle on this?
How
You know,
about he
what do you
tell a
have to
story?
gain? But telling propaganda to our people.
How about he tell a story about why they in the UK?
Or
why every time I hear an African open their mouth, they talking about us here. They're making YouTube videos. They're getting paid off of it. They're doing everything focused on us. We are their main topic. Why they can't discuss the stuff that's going on over there with them in the UK, in Africa, wherever they at. It's always us.
Hold on. I got one that's even better. They trying to talk about our history in Civil War and slavery, while they talk about their history of creating the transatlantic slave trade.
That part.
Boom.
Why don't they tell us? Why don't they tell us the names of the warlords that sold their fellow Africans and why they did it and how many beads they got in exchange for the slaves? I mean, but they don't want to talk about that. They want to focus on us.
Yeah.
He said, if there's no back door, a Negro will build a back door and then go through it because he knows that much that he's not allowed in through the front door.
Oh my gosh, he doesn't understand that was an analogy. I hope he knows that was an analogy written in that book, right? I mean,
and so a conditioning in the Americas has been done to black people. I said,
dude probably never even been to the Americas.
A lot of black people in America won't like it, but it's not my words. There's a woman by the name of Dr. Joy Leary.
And look how they're muddying the waters. This black people. First, he's talking about getting dirty looks by black people on the streets. He's in London, though, so he's getting looks by his fellow Africans. But then he's talking about us, America, Civil War, and he's talking about black. See how he's conflating the two? See how they're trying to see how this is why people are using terms like foundational Black American, Native Black American, Indigenous Black American, because Black is just like breakdancing. It's not ours anymore. Breakdancing is now the Asians, and Black is going to be the African migrants.
No, breakdancing is at the Olympics, and it didn't go well.
Yeah, Asians have taken breakdancing from us. Yeah. And it's fine. We'll let them have it because we've evolved way past that. We've created a billion dances since then, right? They playing with our leftovers. And in that same vein, we're going to let these African migrants play with our leftovers of Black. And we're making sure to delineate whether you say foundational, whether you say Native, whether you say Indigenous. We just got to make sure there's some degrees of separation.
She is a psychologist, Black psychologist in America, American Black woman. And she talks about post-traumatic slave syndrome, is what she calls it. Post-traumatic slave syndrome, right? And essentially, Black people in America were taken, think of it like Frankenstein. You know, like Frankenstein would take the arm from this place and the leg from this place and the head from this place. And they were created into what they are.
What's the form of eugenics?
They're severed from what they were. You see, the Black people on the continent of Africa, they still have, even though they were colonized and enslaved on their continent, they still
from 1885 to 1908. Again, 1885, 1908. That's like what? 20 years or so, 20, 30 years, right? In that short amount of time, King Leopold unalived 10 million Congolese Africans. Let that sink in. He's over here worried about us our slavery, our colonization, our quote unquote post-traumatic slave syndrome. But he don't want to talk about how King Leopold himself in 23 years unalived 10 million of them. Y'all are dealing with famines, coups, wars, genocide to this day. Right now, there's a war going on in Sudan. Right now, there's several civil wars going on. But he's not talking about an African post-colonization syndrome, post-slave syndrome. Apparently, we're the only ones that get a post-slavery syndrome, even though the Africans were enslaved on their own land. I think that's even worse.
It is. And I think it's because the way we have risen, the way we were treated, all the destruction and you know, killing and you know the things they've done to our people.
Hold on. For community guidelines purposes, we say unaliving. Yep.
Okay. All the unaliving and things that has happened to our people, you know, with all the destruction to our communities and things like that. We still have risen. We're still a powerful force in this country. Mm-hmm. So they're studying that because they don't understand how did they sell their own people, some of them over here, you know, and some of us not, but how did they do this, create that sin on their own people, and some of us not, and they still prospered. They're still thriving. Right now to this day, everything that has been done to us, we still overcome it and rise above it. But I want to say those times are gone. Like we ain't rising above nothing no more. It's up. It's up. Come with that smoke and you're going to get smoked.
Well, hey, let's try to hurry up and get through this video because I just can't stand to even see his face on the screen any longer. And actually, I have a history with this man. His name is Sarah. He's based in the UK. I exposed him before I even started creating Indigenous content. Back when I was exposing the manosphere and fake gurus and stuff, there was this racist little white girl named Hannah Pearl Davis. She's a red pill manosphere fake dating coach and stuff. And I was exposing some racist comments she was saying about our community. And at the same time, I was exposing Africans like this man who were working for this racist white woman in the UK. This American racist white woman went to the UK on her rich daddy's money and bought her some Africans that were working for her and doing all this content, and they would sit around and do podcasts talking shit about Black Americans and Black American women and shit, right? And he was part of that, and I exposed him for that like 2 years ago, and now here he is still dick riding Black Americans.
So because they were in their continent, they got to hold on to some remnants of their culture, their language, their foods, stuff like that, right? So they, even though they were colonized, they weren't totally severed from who they were. The Black American is severed from who they were and then cultivated and created into this being. So they don't have a natural language. Their language is the language of the person that created them.
Every time you tell me something, I figure that you're lying. Ooh, it's almost like faking. Oh yeah, I know you're lying, but you sound exciting, and you know that I know lying.
Hey y'all, we are Frankenstein's monster. We have been severed, and like we post-traumatic slave syndrome, and like back door, and if there's not a back door, we'll build a back door, and like bro, this is wild.
We're gonna take care of master.
He said we have no language. Basically, he's saying we have no language and no culture. See, I hate when uneducated people talk. As soon as he opened his mouth, you can tell he's not well read. He really don't know nothing about us. And yeah, he sounds like a big hater. I'm trying to figure out what Native Black American hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
I want to know who got to him because he really has me out.
I want to know what African country his people fled from to the UK. I mean, just think about how ass backwards that is. You guys allegedly get colonized by the Europeans, and then you flee to their homeland to go live with them and work for them in Europe. I mean, I could never. I could never.
They don't have a
Why
natural religion. Their religion is the religion of the person that created them. They don't have everything that they have has been cultivated by the people that.
Nigeria was literally named after a European white woman. I mean, you guys in Africa literally are ran by foreigners to this day. The Chinese are running amok. The Russians. I mean, come on.
They don't even have their own currency.
Yeah, no. Last person who tried to build a currency was Gaddafi, and they came through and took him out.
So when you talk about miseducation, they're not miseducated. They're educated in the way that the people that created them to be educated by. How? The fear was educated into them. The violence educated into them. Everything was educated into them via the people that cultivated them. So they're not missing.
And if you guys are wondering how deep the Pan Goofy rabbit hole goes, his nickname, he calls himself as Sarah Garvey, after Marcus Garvey, you know, the tether who tried to convince us to go to Africa and scammed us and went to prison and got deported. Yeah. These are those Garveyites, y'all. Shout out to the Garveyites.
Okay, they're educated. They are moving along the exact line that they're supposed to move down because the people that created them that way created them for them to be like this.
So they are completely. So just no disrespect to Americans.
No, it's not a disrespect.
So in other words, it's like you're saying that they're completely lost. Unless they follow that trajectory, and they continue.
They're completely.
How do they go from being?
Hey, how are we such a lost people, and you're so obsessed with us? That's what I can't get.
How are we so lost and we're leading the way? We lead the way. We literally lead the way. They follow our footsteps. They mimic our language, our slang. When he say we don't have one, we really do. That's been added to the Webster's Dictionary, the ones they like to copy. I don't know how we lost when they following right behind us. So I guess they lost too then.
Hey.
The person that was, protecting the master and supporting and being, come back as the wounded.
Cheerio, governor. That person was supporting the slave master. I guess those black American blokes really are rummish bollocks. Man's taking a piss, isn't it? What the fuck are you talking about? He's talking about slaves who were forced to take care of their masters when they went to war. I mean, bro, what? I mean, hey, since he's talking cash money shit, let me just show you how easily we can embarrass them. Go to Google, type in Africans carrying Europeans. Hey, it's crazy how we so enslaved and so backwards and so colonized, but we ain't got no fucking photos of us carrying no white broad through the jungle through a cart while she's smiling and grinning and shit, right? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Africans carrying this white woman on a cart through their homeland. Damn. But we're supposed to be the lost ones, huh? Hold on. If y'all thought that was a one-off, hold on. If y'all thought that was a one-off, look at this shit. Before there was photography, they was making paintings about the shit. They carrying mans on a hammock on their head. There ain't nothing you can ever say about us. Ain't nothing you can ever fix your funky ass lips to say anything but look at it. Got his legs hanging out, chilling. He giving man's a piggyback ride. And you ain't got you can't find a single fucking photo of one of them Confederate slaves giving a Confederate soldier slave master a piggyback ride. But we were supposed to be so Stockholm syndrome, right? And here you got an African giving man's a piggyback ride.
We don't do the white that worship.
We don't do that. And what the fuck kind of Facebook page is this? The United States of Africa? Jesus. Africa doesn't have states. Anyways, before I get too confused. Oh, look, another piggyback ride. They didn't have photography back in the 1884, 1884. We had photography in 1884. Africa, nah. Come on. Oh, here's a photo. Man's in the hammock. Feet up, chilling. Damn. 1912. 1912 wasn't that long ago. This is how y'all was getting down fairly recently. 1870. Damn, a whole collection. Hammocks on the head. Okay. You know you fucked up, right? Another hammock, leg out. Okay. But they don't want to talk about this.
Well, yeah.
They don't want to talk about this. I digress.
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah, Mike. We are not the same.
Looking after them to the person that now is so anti-white and the hatred towards white people.
Black people don't hate white people.
You don't think that's the case?
They say they do, but they don't. And this is where I get controversial, right? If black people hated white people, yeah, if they really hated them, they would treat them the same way that they were treated. They don't. They love them. So what happens?
What?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. We love white people because we don't have plantations and force white folks to work on those plantations for us.
Because we're not a cruel people. We're not a
Wait, hold on. Meanwhile, the whole fucking continent of Africa got colonized. And wait, hold on, time out. I can't say that the Africans aren't doing something about it, because I guess we can say the Africans are colonizing Europe because they're fleeing there en masse. I mean, I guess if I'm playing devil's advocate, we can say that they're doing a reverse colonization because they're getting on banana boats if they got to, as long as they can get to the white man's land.
More than 200 African migrants have scaled the border fence into the Spanish enclave of Melilla. It's the biggest assault on the border in more than 8 years. The new arrivals, many from Cameroon and Guinea, headed towards the Migrant Reception Centre, celebrating touching European soil. The latest incursion at Melilla brings the number of migrants who've successfully scaled the fence to almost 600 so far this year.
You know you fucked up, right?
Man, that video says it all. I love it.
It really does.
Yes, I edited that video.
And
I'm that petty. I did that.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
You're dying laughing. You know what? And you're absolutely right. They run to the white man's country. We don't. So what's going on in their homeland? That's what we need to talk about.
I just told y'all in 23 years, King Leopold took out 10 million Africans. Them Africans didn't take out 10 million Europeans as vengeance, but these folks is going to sit in their comfortable apartment in London talking about, oh, if Black Americans really didn't like white people, then they would do to them what they did to them. Meanwhile, they're working for the white people that colonized them and enslaved their ancestors and butchered them and cut off babies' arms and diamond mines and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, cut off their hands, got pictures of it. People was using them hands as souvenirs and wearing them around their neck and stuff.
We don't have that.
And even they were even forced.
We were not getting amputated en masse like them Africans, but we're supposed to be the lost ones who got done so wrong, right?
Yeah, but I don't see them going around doing none of that stuff that God did to them, to any of them people out there that's sitting inside their country.
Not at all.
When a white person, they love them.
I don't hate white people.
No, I'm not talking. Yeah, I don't hate white people. But when you said that,
see, he had to save face. He had to make sure that he lets the white people know, since he's in their kingdom, he's in their homeland. We don't hate white people, though. Hey.
Yeah, for America.
But you said that they hate them, and I'm saying they don't hate them. They love them.
But there's definitely anti-whiteness. There's definitely no man.
Let me tell you something.
I see it, dude. I got tons of. Dude, if I have to put this stuff online, of like people on TikTok talking about, this, almost the disdain for white
lip service. It's lip service. It's not
God's sake.
Mark Anthony.
What's going on?
Mark Anthony. If I hated you, which I don't, bro, right? I would do something to you. If I hated you, I could say,
So the only two emotions are love and hate, huh, guys? I guess if we don't hate them, then we love them. What?
And the only reaction is violence.
I guess. I mean, this is that African logic that's gotten them so far, right?
That's why.
I mean, but he don't know what we feeling. He don't know how we feel. Well, he needs to shut up and mind his business because he don't know what we feeling or how we feel or how we want to handle things. He don't know. He needs to be
all
quiet.
the way in the UK spectating.
Oh, you see that, Mark Anthony? He's a this, he's a this, he's a blah, he's a blah, blah. It's lip service. You used to be in a gang. If someone's talking about doing something, what's the word? Someone talking about doing something or someone doing something?
Someone doing something.
Right.
So
I really doubt this Poindexter was in a gang, but okay. You know, those UK gangs are real soft.
Because people can talk all the time. Did you hear that someone said this about you? Whatever he said. They don't really hate you, because if they really hated you, bro, they'd do something to you, bro. So this is what I'm trying to say. Black people don't hate white.
No, I think if you really dislike someone to that degree, you would want nothing to do with them. I think if you really didn't like them to that extent, you wouldn't want to see them. You wouldn't want to be around them. You wouldn't want to even think about them.
And that's how our people are. When we ain't messing with you, we don't mess with you. We don't want to see you. We don't want to be you.
Thank God they didn't hate me that much.
No, but they're just talking. So I'm saying black people in the Western world and hate each other.
All right, so they're just gonna do a circle jerk, pontificating over our feelings and emotions. So we'll just get on to the next video. I think this one's at least a little more entertaining, although we're still gonna be dealing with some pain goofiness. I'm just like, if you're gonna give me some pain goofiness, it gotta be entertaining at least.
Right? Don't keep on talking in circles with word vomit.
We appreciate you watching. We want to know what your question or comment happens to be. Caller?
Yes, Brother West?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Brother Warren here.
Hey, it's good to hear from you.
That I don't want to be rude or disrespectful, but I kind of come from the position you grew up in the Garveyite era.
God damn, another Garveyite. He just said I grew up in the same position you did in the Garveyite era. Lord, what did Marcus Garvey do? What did he do?
I'm learning about a whole new tribe, I guess. It's a Garveyite.
These Garveyites. Yep, Garveyites.
I identify as an African American, identify with my African ancestry. When I hear my relatives who do genealogy talk about a Native American past, I'm not interested, because I feel that a lot of these things are still attempts on our part to escape our African heritage.
But if we said the opposite, it'd be an issue, right? If we said, hey, when my brothers and sisters say that they find African heritage, I don't care about it, because I think that's just an excuse for them to escape their indigenous American heritage. If we said that, it'd be a problem.
Right, it would. It'd be a big problem. But we don't care. I don't care what you claim. We could say it. Oh, you could say it over and over and over again. I don't care if you're African. I don't care if you're Haitian, Dominican, whatever you want to be whatever you want to be. I don't care about none of that. But it seems like everybody has an opinion about Native Black Americans. And why is that? Nobody's forcing you to be African. You want to be African, go ahead. I'm not forcing you to pay attention to what I got going on up over here either.
Well, and check it, the pain goofiness is so crazy that he literally just said that, like, even if he has an indigenous ancestor, he doesn't care.
Yeah, and he can go ahead.
He literally
he ain't the type I want to claim anyway.
Yeah.
Respectful, but I kind of come from the position you grew up in the Garveyite era. I identify as an African American, identify with my African ancestry. When I hear my relatives who do genealogy talk about a Native American past, I'm not interested, because I feel that a lot of these things are still attempts on our part to escape our African heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it were the case of Native American ancestry, I am Black because I am African, not because I'm Native American. And the institutions the African American family, the church, the civic, social organization we developed saved my life and many other Black folk life. And so people have the right to identify with whatever they want. But I feel that this discussion among our people tends to get us off track as to our reality that we deal with in the world, and that we are oppressed because we are an African people.
I want you to respond to him.
Brother, I would like to say this to you. I'm not trying to change anyone's belief. A lot of the calls I get from around the country, I address some of the calls like you were just saying. I'm not trying to change your belief or your race, but I am saying for the last several hundred years, you've been on my land here. And what I am saying, be at least a little appreciative that when the slaves were running from their slave masters, we opened our doors and villages for you to be here today to tell me you from Africa. So, thank somebody from giving up everything they had because we believed in God, we feared God, and we opened up our doors and villages. We fed your people. We took care of your people.
Damn, and now they act so ungrateful, don't they?
So ungrateful.
Act like we don't exist.
Did you hear, Chief? Did you hear her? Yes, she said it. She couldn't have said it better. She was like, I ain't telling you, what you claiming or whatever, but be thankful because when y'all was running away, we let y'all come on our land. We fed y'all. We accepted y'all in. Be grateful.
Same thing I would tell the Europeans when they ask me, what are you worried about? We're the people you base your Thanksgiving off of. We gave you everything and you gave us death. You gave us bloody trails of tears. Well, okay, African American have even given us a bloody trail of tears. You know what I get from my African brothers and sisters? That we opened our doors and gave to them life. They say, why are you worried about that? Now you ought to embrace being of Africa. Well, I've been here for thousands of years. Now, brother, for me to go to Africa and tell Africa I'm a Native American, I have met with a lot of friends in Africa. They accept me as chief of this nation. India accept me as chief of my nation. Other countries do. Why can't my brothers and sisters of Africa here be more graceful and help us the way we help you all?
Ooh, damn. Damn.
Come on.
It's true.
Come on
It's
with
true.
it. She read him like a wet note. She read him. Oh,
hey,
man, I love her so much. I love listening.
I'm not even going to front. I
Look.
ain't even going to front. I come across Europeans. I come across different ethnic groups. If it comes out that I'm indigenous, they don't really bat an eye. They just accept it, right? But when it comes to these paying goofies, oh, what do you mean you're in? Oh, what? No, don't, no. We're African. We're African. We're all African.
No.
Born.
Like you said, just because you have some African admixture doesn't mean that you're African.
Exactly.
I don't understand it.
And a lot of us don't have no admixture at all.
How are they trying to group themselves with us or tell us who we are as a people when the first thing they say is me no black? And that's all of the different lines. The first thing they say is, oh, I'm not black. I'm not a African American.
Me no black papi. Me no black papi.
Be related to us in that way. but they sure in the heck are trying to claim our resources and our rights and our benefits. You get what I'm saying?
Reminder that Dominicans are not black. We're not black. And no matter how much black Americans cry about it, we're not black. We will never be black. We will never be black. We're not black. And it's just a reminder to black Americans who are so pathetically forcing Dominicans to label themselves as black. We keep telling them we have our own culture. We have our own culture. We know black papi. We know black papi. They force it on us.
We know black.
Hey.
But you know what? They're absolutely right. And I agree with them. They are not black. They're not black. None of them are. And we do not claim you guys. You are exactly who you say you are. And we are exactly who we say we are. Stay over there over there in your lane, and we gonna stay over here in our lane, and we gonna continue to keep on doing us. You're not Black. And that's why we're delineating, and we're getting our genealogy, and we're putting it out there of who we are. And it's the grand awakening. And everybody has forced our hand to do this, not just the white tea people, but all of you too, because they're trying to group us all in together. Then y'all trying to swamp and suck like a leech off of everything, then have the nerve to turn your nose up at us. No, we worked for this. We fought for this. Every right that you have when you come up over here, we gave that to you. My mama, my grandma, my ancestors, my uncles, my aunties, my people, we gave that to you. How you live here, how you able to walk around, work, get the job you want, go to school, all that come off of our blood, our tears, the dirt that we didn't move, picked and plowed and did all that. So no, you not Black. You right. You not. You the Dominican, you the Haitian, you the Jamaican, and you the African, and we are the MBAs, the Native Black Americans. And y'all in our land, and you need to show some respect around here. I don't care if you're not Black. You not Black. You right. You got that right. And I'll tell you in a hot minute, you not Black. You from wherever you said you from. This our shit.
But see, the crazy thing is, the same people who didn't want nothing to do with us, the same people who said me no Black, well, now they want to be Black all of a sudden, right, guys? Now it's opposite day, and they said, you know what? I think Black is what I want to be after all. I think maybe I can make this Black thing work for me.
Yeah, they milking it for everything they can. They milking the system, and they get all these benefits off of tying themselves to us, to the real Black community of the Americas, which is the Native Black Americans. They're milking the system. And I don't like how the government is grouping them all in with us. No. I don't want to be grouped in with everybody. I don't want to be grouped in or put with a whole bunch of people.
No. That's so exclusionist of you, though. I mean, don't you want these folks to show up to the cookout?
I pay for therapy because my thoughts tear me. They keep on dragging me. I pay for tips, they scatter me. I cannot barely sleep, but even I cannot hold on. Without you inside of me, I never knew this pain. Take the ones I love away from. I wanna see cats bad, why can't someone call me? I got to shoot out on my sleeve.
I know my young YN feel disrespected them doing his song like that.
The YNs better grab the Glocks with the switches, okay?
Man, it's just like they cosplay all day, but let them come over here and they're gonna be told, don't talk to them. They're the lowest of the low. Get you a white friend and you're gonna prosper. Get around the white tea people and you'll be successful. Stay away from the Black Americans. But you sitting over there in your country cosplaying Black Americans.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
And like I said, moving around off of
Yep.
Oh, I was saying, they're moving around off of what we built, off of what we created here for ourselves to give us some happiness, some comfort. And, I just think that it's a terrible situation. And I believe that they have put their foot in their mouth enough. And they need to just shut up. Shut up already. Mind your business and shut up about whatever's going on up over here. Go be great.
Jeez, tell us how you really think. Tell us how you really feel.
That's exactly
historic interpretation of Native Americans being saviors of those 12 million souls from Africa who were brought here, who saved this land. This Louisiana colony was saved by the Africans from growing rice, and the Native Americans participated with the Europeans.
Yeah, and this is like a weird claim I keep hearing from Pan Goofy, is that like Africans brought rice over here and we should be so grateful. A slave isn't bringing anything. And if a slave snuck some kernels of rice, what did a slave master just say? Okay, well, you can plant your rice now on my land. Like, that makes no sense. Nobody snuck right. Actually, the first, and this is where the story gets crazy. The first person who's supposed to plant these rice grains or whatever was an African conquistador. Look it up.
And capturing Africa who were brought here, who saved this land. This Louisiana colony was saved by the Africans from growing rice. And the Native Americans participated with the Europeans in capturing Africans as slaves and also using them in the slave trade. I just disagree with her historical interpretation on the record. I identify with those 12 million Africans who were brought here and have the strongest soul and refuse not to die.
All right, Warren. Before I'm gonna let Roger. He wants to handle up on you in a minute, but I'm gonna invite you. We ought to sit down here and just have an open debate one day. I like to.
Come on, guys. Y'all know me as the king of receipts, so I ain't gonna make you do no research, okay? I said the first person to bring this rice over, as he's talking about, was actually an African conquistador, right, guys? Well, let me give you some receipts now, okay? Are you ready for some receipts? This African conquistador, his name was Estavanico, also called Esteban or Estavanico the Moor. He was from Northern Africa. He was enslaved by the Spaniards and brought to Spanish expeditions in Florida, Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona in the early 1500s. Estavanico was one of the first non-indigenous people to explore much of the U.S. Southwest. However, he wasn't really directly connected with any rice cultivation in the Americas. His role was more like an interpreter, a scout, and a guide for Spanish expeditions. You heard that right. They literally had Africans they were using as guides and interpreters over here in our land. This is another one of those dirty Moors, right? Now, when we hear about this whole African bringing rice and stuff, I mean, it really wasn't going down like that. It's mostly myth. It's mostly misconception. Oftentimes they try to say that the Africans from the West Coast, they had knowledge of rice cultivation and they brought that knowledge to the Americas, but they didn't actually like bring any rice or anything. Estavanico the Moor, he was said to have done some kind of planting or had maybe brought a seed or something over, but this is mostly a myth and a misconception when you hear these pan-goofies talking about Africans saved Louisiana because they brought rice, even though they were slaves, right? I mean, we had corn, we had rice here already, wild grains. I mean, come on.
This land was very fruitful. Very, very fruitful. It was so fruitful when they came over here, they was amazed of how fruitful this land was and bragged about it. I got this from you. They said it was the best lands in the universe. Yep. So come on now.
Let's talk about
and
it.
That's why they wanted to come over here and take it over, because it was everything over here already. You could walk down a little dirt path road and there's fruit trees everywhere. You could eat. It's wild vegetables growing around. And you could pick everything you wanted to eat, the grapes, the oranges, the apples, everything was all right here for you to eat already. So I don't know what the caller is talking about, but they need to go read some more books.
Well, not only that, but what you're saying is it's all facts and it's backed by primary sources. Actually, I got a video that comes to mind. Watch this video. This video right here piggybacks off of exactly what you were just saying. And you know what? Hold on. Is it a short or was it another video? Hold on. I believe they talk about the orange grove trees. Where is it? Where is it? Mercenaries, Lord Proprietors. You know what? I think it was a short. Yeah, it was a short. Nowadays, shorts can be like up to a couple minutes long. That's why I got confused. Here it is.
He was called a botanist, the son of John Bartram, royal botanist to King George III, a man sent to America by the House of Hanover to record its wealth, trees, and animals like entries in a ledger. But William Bartram walked differently, alone, without an interpreter, moving as if he already knew these American lands. High probability, he was not a European servant of empire, but the descendant of hostage indigenous Indians pressed into service for the foreign Hanover Trust. And what he saw was not wilderness. He walked through a network of agricultural nodes, fragrant hammocks, mounded islands, ceremonial highways, each a vault of food, medicine, and fragrance linked together across the American landscape. This was not random nature. This was networked agriculture, a system as intricate as any modern grid, the original internet of things, where every grove, every lake, every mound was a living node in a continental web of abundance. Bartram describes how.
And look at the difference, guys. We were growing indigenous citrus groves where you would have pine and live oak canopy that gives protection for the grove trees, Spanish moss, other native plants. You've got a floodplain and marsh vegetation nearby. Don't have to worry about watering whenever there's seasonal floods. Everything's getting taken care of, right? Now compare that to capitalist citrus grove layouts. We from California, right? Everybody on the panel is a California native. We've seen these grove layouts in Cali, right? Dirt, barren ass fields of dirt, and then you got those rows and rows of trees. Chemicals,
That's
irrigation,
exactly what it looks like.
straight lines. Peep game, the
And
straight
they
lines.
took out all of the. They took out all of the female trees too.
Yeah. Whereas when we had control over these areas, you know, we tended the garden. That's why California burns up every year with the wildfires, because we used to do controlled burns. We used to take care of the forests as if they were living gardens. And now that we're not, well, now everything burns up every year.
Every lake, every mound was a living node in a continental web of abundance. Bartram describes highways, straight, wide, but leading always to a node, to a grove, to a lake, to a savanna lit with golden fruit. The geometry was circular, radiant, built on reflection, abundance, and connection. The straight line trust of Europe could not see it. To them, value meant a boundary survey.
And this is something you'll learn if you ever get into the esoteric secret society mystery schools. It's basically a battle of curves and lines, if you will, right? We follow an ancient system of gematria, if you will, different nodes, different patterns, sacred geometry, whereas they follow a rigid grid-like. You know, they came over here, they had to colonize the land, they had to make everything in grids and borders and survey it and parcel it and tax it. And this is that system, right?
A plantation rode out in rigid lines, a yield stripped and delivered on schedule. The indigenous system was too abundant, too complex. Its wealth diffused across nodes of light and islands in the middle of water. So they destroyed it, tearing down centuries of fragrant hammocks, replacing them with fields of cotton and indigo, a system they could count, tax, and collateralize. And all of it done, not for the people, not to improve the land, but to deliver the highest possible yield to their trust grantors in the Holy Roman Empire.
Come on. So when you're talking about the trees and the groves and the fruit, yep.
That's exactly what I was talking about right there. So all that about us not having, yeah, that was a lie. About us starving, that was a lie. About them saving us with some rice, that was a lie. You were saving yourself. You wasn't saving us.
We got fish, we got wild game, we got agriculture. You really think that we was waiting for some African slaves to bring rice over here? Okay. All right.
Oh, that rice is just so good.
I don't even want to know how they were storing the rice on the slave boat. Okay. Was it in the prison purse? I don't know.
Supposedly they were braiding it in their cornrows. I don't want that rice either.
Some dandruff rice. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want that rice either. Some lice
dandruff
rice.
Some lice. There you go. Some lice rice survived the transatlantic slave trade voyage, and then when they got here, they brokered an arrangement with plantation owners to let them experiment and grow their African rice.
Well,
I
how
got
much
it.
rice was in their hair for them to be planting crops? How much rice?
A lot of rice. It was lots and lots of rice. Hey, wait. If they used to say hundreds of millions of Africans were trafficked during the transatlantic slave trade before they reduced those numbers in recent years, let's just say that lots and lots of rice was carried in their tight little cornrows. Even though we really know that most Africans are bald, they don't even have hair like that. But hey.
Wait. If they were throwing slaves over the boats because they boats was too heavy, they let them carry all that rice too?
No.
Like-
You don't get it. You don't get it. You don't understand. You don't understand. They did get overweighted, so they would throw a slave off. But before the slave walked the plank, he took the rice out of his hair and threw it like a quarterback into another slave's little cornrows, and then he walked the plank. Yeah. The rice must survive. We must get the American Indians need this rice. The American Indians are dying over there without this rice.
Y'all.
We are on a sacred mission to bring the rice to the Americas.
There was no food over here. That's what they're trying to say. Are you crazy? Do you know the abundance that the Americas have? That they seen them. Why you think them folks wanted this land so bad? You've seen London, right? London ain't had nothing. London ain't had nothing. They walked over here and said, it's cherries on trees. It's oranges. It's everything. Oh, we need that. Yeah.
The United States produces 31% of the world's corn, 28% of the world's soybeans, 6% global production of wheat has declined, but we do produce most of the wheat for the world, it looks like. Yeah. Y'all are really relying on us. Okay.
And those are grains. Those are grains that everyone needs. We use those in almost everything we process with processed food and things. So, I mean, do the math. America had grain. We had the agriculture already before they came.
And that's just right now. You know, the government does pay some of these farmers over here not to
farm. No, most farmers get subsidized not to farm. Yes.
Not to farm. And we have tons of farmland here. I mean, look at California alone by itself, how much food we provide for the United States alone. I mean, and that's just California. That's not even counting all the other states that have vast amounts of farmland. So all that about,
Wait, hold on. So I stand corrected. With wheat, we only produce 6% of global wheat. But check this out. Here's the numbers that really matter. The United States produces, hold on, we got Africa. Oh, damn, yeah, this is pretty embarrassing. Yeah, those Africans were talking so greasy earlier, man. They were talking so greasy. Damn.
What is it, the cocoa bean? I know a lot of cocoa beans come from over there.
No, you know what? So it says that Africa has 60% of the world's arable land, which means like they have a lot of land, right? Huge land mass, right? Africa produces 10% of the world's agriculture. We produce 19.5%, and most of our farmers are paid not to farm. And we're such a smaller landmass compared to Africa. So yeah, it's not looking good.
There it goes right there. That's it. But they was feeding us though.
Hey, we really needed that African rice. But guys,
we were just
we've got to wrap up this broadcast. It's getting a little bit late, but actually, right after this broadcast ends, it's going to push everybody that's watching. It's going to push you guys into the next live stream. I got another live stream I'm going to queue up. We're about to go live on TikTok as well. If you guys want to join me, ladies, then you guys can just sit tight and I'll redirect you into the next stream. But either way, we got to at least say our goodbyes to this broadcast, and then it'll segue everybody into the next one.
Bye, everybody. Follow us to the next one.
Oh, yeah. We'll see you on the next one in just a moment. Don't touch that dial, guys. As soon as the broadcast ends, there's going to be a 10-second countdown on everyone's screen, and then it will automatically redirect you into the next live stream. So we will see you guys over there in just a moment.
They don't want you to remember this. You not no slave, you indigenous. Fuck how they painted them Indians. You went to war with the French and the British, man. Quite frankly, you was kings, Merovingians. They took the women and men, made them prisoners. Raised up the children to worship their images. Set up a lab to the genes and they mixed them. And this shit get way deeper than your pigment.